How can you avoid anger? If you're driving in the Coimbatore street, you have to avoid the medians which are placed in odd places. You have to avoid bad drivers. You have to avoid drunken men crossing the street, children crossing the street, all kinds of things. But when you're driving in Coimbatore streets, do you have to avoid the moon? I'm asking you, do you have to avoid the moon? No, because the moon is not on the street, isn't it? So similarly, right now are you angry? No? Then why should you avoid it? There's no need to avoid it. It is just that you think anger is an entity. Anger is not an entity. You become angry. You become angry. Anger is not sitting somewhere and you go hit it. There is no such thing. You become angry. When you become angry, is it pleasant for you or unpleasant for you? Unpleasant for you. Unpleasant for others for sure, unpleasant for yourself also. Today, medical science proves to you, when you're angry, you're actually poisoning your system. You know, we have always known this, but today chemical tests clearly show you that you're actually poisoning your system, generating poison in the system by being angry. So, why would you want to poison yourself? It is not a conscious act. You're poisoning yourself, you're causing unpleasantness to yourself only because your mind is not taking instructions from you, isn't it? It is not taking instructions from you. If it was taking instructions from you, you would have said blissfulness, isn't it? You wouldn't say anger. But now when you want to be peaceful, it is getting angry because it is not taking instructions from you. So if your mind is not taking instructions from you, you have to pay a little more attention to it. Why is it not taking instructions from you? If you understand this, you don't have to avoid anger, because anger is not sitting there and getting at you. You are becoming angry, you are becoming unhappy, you are becoming miserable. These things are happening to you essentially because you have not done anything to take your faculties under your control. It is happening accidentally, just by chance. If outside situations are good, you are also good. If outside situations are bad, you are also bad. That is not how human life should be. Human life should be like this. If I am good, everything around me becomes good. This should be the reality, isn't it? Right now, if things around me are whichever way, I will become that way. Human consciousness should create situations. Right now, situations are creating human consciousness. That's not the right way to shape human life.
What a vision means is, see, everybody has desires. Desire is an incremental way of enhancing our life. Today you desire, I must have a home, tomorrow you desire, I must have this money, tomorrow you desire something else. These are incremental ways of arranging and rearranging our lives, which are needed to do a few things. When you say, I'm a visionary, what you're saying is, I have a larger desire, which is not about just incremental improvement of my life. Desire is about me always. Vision is an all-inclusive process. So, this itself is a phenomenal thing. If people, instead of having desires, if they have a vision, vision is always all-inclusive. Desire is personal. Desire leads to incremental changes and improvements. Vision can transform the whole situation. When I hear even on national news channels, good guys and bad guys, it just… once you have this kind of thing, you are going to be disastrous to the planet. It's just a question of time. The moment you decide, this is a good person, this is a bad person, this has gone deep into American society. No, there are no good people and bad people. Everybody is oscillating between the two. If you create a very pleasant, wonderful atmosphere, everybody behaves wonderfully. If you create an unpleasant atmosphere, a whole lot of people act nasty. Yes or no? There are joyful people and miserable people, but there are no good people and bad people. The moment we think we are good, we are entitled to destroy the bad, isn't it? Oh, we've been destroying a lot of people for a long time. time to stop that, because human beings are in different levels of experience and understanding, variety of people. Anybody who is not like you is obviously bad, isn't it? Isn't it so? Those who are not like me must be bad people. Because the basis of goodness and what you think is goodness is decided by you. No, you have no business to do that. Willing means this, I'm just willing. I'm 100% yes to life. I am not yes to this one, no to this one, no. I am just yes and yes to life. If you are 100% yes to life, you are a volunteer. You have become a willing life. You have become so willing that you have no will of your own. People ask me, Sadhguru, how do you operate with all these people? All kinds of horrible questions they're asking, they're doing this, they're doing that. I said, my life is not about them, it's about me. It's about how I am. It's about me. It doesn't matter how they are, that's their choice. But how I am is my choice, this is my way. No matter what they do, I'm like this. Because I have not given that freedom to anybody that somebody can freak me, somebody can make me angry, somebody can make me happy, somebody can make me unhappy. These privileges I kept to myself. It's time you do that too. Because if somebody else can decide what can happen within you right now, isn't this the ultimate slavery? Huh? Isn't this? Someone else can decide what should happen within you. What happens around you, of course, so many people decide. What happens around us is not 100% ours. But what happens within me must be my making, isn't it? Right now, just about anybody can freak anybody because they're not volunteers, they're unwilling. Volunteering means you have no will of your own, you can do whatever is needed. So people keep coming up to me on a daily basis, Sadhguru, I can't work with this person, she's so horrible, I can't do it. I tell them, see, in this world, this is the sort of people who exist. Like this, like this, like this, like this is the kind of people there are. But if you want to work with ideal people, you must go to heaven, and today. But if you think what you're doing is very significant, you must learn to work with all these horrible people. This is how the world is. If you think what you're doing is very significant, you learn to work with all kinds of people. You will see horrible people will do wonderful things. Yes?
Yeah.
But if you want to work with ideal people, you won't find any. I haven't found one yet. There are all kinds of mixed bags. But if you are willing that you are not yes and no, yes to one, no to another, you're simply one big yes, you will find a way. If you keep the scope of your life very limited, let's say just your education or your profession or your family, then maybe 90% of things happen your way, 10% of the things don't happen your way. But if you expand your activity globally, then you will see only 10% happens your way, 90% doesn't happen your way. So if you're the freaking kind, then you will break yourself down. So one thing we need to understand is that if mentally, emotionally, we are freaking out on something or the other, I want you to understand there is no complexities to this. To make it very simple, you are freaking whenever things don't happen the way you think they should happen. Hello? Do you understand this? Your only problem with life is, it's not happening the way you think it should happen. Hello? That's all. If it is not happening the way you think it should happen, maybe it is happening somebody else's way and somebody else is happy. Yes or no? And most of the people in the same breath, they say they believe in God, so maybe it's happening His way. So essentially, it's not happening the way you think it should happen. But look at the way you're thinking. 2 years ago, how you're thinking, and today how you're thinking, is it the same? No. So you are glad those things didn't happen.
But it takes 2 years to realize that I'm glad those things didn't happen. A whole lot of things don't happen. So what? The important thing is, how profound and how exuberant is your experience of life. Life is not that it must happen your way. If it happens your way, what does it mean? What is your way? Right now what you know, from that you concoct something which you call, this is my way, isn't it? Nothing here is permanent. That's why it is super valuable. Tomorrow you may be gone, I may be gone. That is what makes it super valuable, isn't it? So, make this happen that you in your life, you will not waste your life generating one negative thought, one negative emotion, one negative word, one negative nonsense. Do what really matters, because it's so brief and so precious.
So, your good intentions are not going to save the world. How you are, and how you are will change only if you can breathe, walk, lie down, sit down joyfully. If you cannot do this one thing, everything else will be just poison, whatever you do. Only when you're pleasant within yourself, you feel pleasant about everything around you. Only when you feel pleasant about everything around you, you move around with a certain sense and value to life around you. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how much morality you carry in you, how many scriptures you remember, you will find ways to do the cruelest possible things. So the first and foremost business, the first and basic responsibility for a human being is how he sits here. Are you sitting here joyfully? Are you sitting here with some misery being manufactured in your head? This is the foremost thing that you have to attend to. Only after that everything else. Because otherwise nothing else really works, please see. Whenever you feel very miserable, always the thought comes, you want to end your life. You don't take action on that, but thought comes, isn't it? Yes or no? You try this, 24 hours you remain in misery. You always entertain yourself with a television or a book or a friend or something. Don't do that. 24 hours just remain in misery. Within 24 hours, you will get serious thoughts that you want to end your life, for sure. Because nobody can bear misery more than for a few minutes. More than a few minutes, you need a diversion, otherwise you'll go crazy, isn't it? To understand misery does not work. That's not the way to conduct life. Whatever may be your life situation, whatever I'm saying. Whatever may be happening with your life, there may be many things in life. Whatever it may be, you are better off than when you were born, isn't it? You came with nothing, at least you got something now. You're on the profit side. Look at the beauty of life. You came with utterly nothing. Whatever may be happening, you're still in profit, not in loss. So you cannot complain. Isn't it so? So, don't try to think your disease away. Think your misery away. If you think your misery away, ailment or no ailment, we'll see.
We don't know how to keep ourselves well. We think for everything there's a solution outside. No, this is an integrated life. This has everything within itself to be healthy, to be well, to be sane, to be joyful, to be blissful. It's got everything. It's come with everything. It's just that we're not accessing it because nowhere is it being taught. Everything is turned into a fad, everything is turned into something. Now people are predicting a suicide pandemic, as if mental illness pandemic is not good enough. Over 7,200 children below 15 years of age committing suicide. Why 12, 13-year-olds want to commit suicide when you should be bursting with life? When you are 12, 13 years of age, you should be bursting with life, but they are wanting to kill themselves. We are fundamentally doing something wrong, isn't it? Otherwise, children
Why would children want to commit suicide? But it's going that way everywhere in the world because we have not addressed the human being. Yoga is needed. Yoga does not mean twisting and turning, yoga means turning inward, finding the source of who you are, touching that intelligence within you which is beyond your psychological and physiological process. This needs to happen to maximum number of people. Whatever your life situation, disease, death, divorce, whatever the hell is happening in your life, even if the worst things are happening to you, still there is no reason for you to get frustrated, miserable, depressed, whatever, because you came here with nothing. Whatever is happening, you're anyway on the profit side, and there is an assurance when you go, there is nothing to take. What are you crying about? What is it? No, you know what they said, what they did, they looked at me like this, they said that, they did this, they did that. It doesn't matter who did what. Just see what a dastardly thing you're doing to yourself when you make yourself miserable. Nobody has to do anything to you. If you are making yourself stressed, frustrated, miserable, depressed, you don't need enemies, you're on self-help and you're doing great. It's time you get out of this.